My name is Sierra Peters. I am a sixth-year PhD candidate in the social psychology program here at FSU. I work primarily with Dr. Andrea Meltzer, as well as Dr. John Maynor and Dr. Jim McNulty, to explore research questions related to how romantic relationships begin, develop, and dissolve. When I'm not doing research, I am also a teaching assistant here at FSU, so for the last several years, I've been teaching social psychology, and most recently, I'm teaching an upper-level seminar on intimate relationships. I think some of the biggest shifts in relationships that we see over time probably have to do with kind of when people get into a committed long-term relationship, when they decide to start a family. So we've seen, for example, the age at first marriage changed drastically over the last several decades. For example, in the 60s, men and women were getting married around 21 years old. And in 2020, that's shifted back about 9 years. So men and women are now getting married at 28, 29, 30 years old. And the age at first childbirth, when couples choose to start a family, has shifted similarly across recent decades.
I'm Glenn Davis, my wife Ellen. We've lived here in Tallahassee for 38 years.
Since 1988.
Since 1988.
In 1972, I was living in Cairo, Georgia, and I divorced my first husband. In small town in Georgia, being divorced was not something everybody approved of. And several people made it their business to tell my father, who was a pharmacist, everything that I was doing wrong. So I came home one day at lunch and asked my mother if there was any relatives anywhere in the United States that I could go visit because I couldn't do this anymore. So 2 weeks later, moved out with my clothes and my cat and to my aunt's house. I had not seen this aunt since I was 2 years old. But they welcomed me into their house, and it worked out really well. And a couple days later, my aunt kept saying, I have this guy that I really need you to meet. I think you'd like him a lot. And so we were getting ready to go to the Denver Zoo that day, and I heard this god-awful noise coming up the street. And it was a small Triumph Spitfire, GT6, coming up the street. Had a 2x4 for the front bumper, and he pulled up to my neighbor's house. And Aunt Rita said, "Oh, there's Glenn. That's what I've been telling you about." So Glenn gets out of the car, and he has waist-length hair with a leather headband, round John Lennon glasses, John Lennon boots, flannel shirt and jeans. And I thought, okay, now you have to, because I'm from Cairo, I'm not really used to seeing this. So the next night, I get a phone call from Glenn, asked me to go out. So I said it's safe enough because Aunt Rita knows him. So got ready, and I heard the same god-awful noise coming up. And he rang the doorbell, and he was clean-cut shaven. He'd cut all of his hair off, dressed up, and like, wow, you sure you're the same one? The only way I knew it was him was because of his car. So that's how we met. And that was in 1972.
I got a date. We're going out. Small town I grew up in, my graduating class was 32 people. And so there wasn't a lot of girls to choose from. So we had to go over to Boulder, and we did a lot of bar hopping. That's, but we had 3 bars then. And of course, you're 17, 18 years old, you can't drink. So they were basically beer joints. And every Wednesday night, Skunk Creek Inn had Drown Night for $4. You could drink all the beer till you were stupid.
And they did.
And we did.